सद्धर्मा संस्थापको नाना शास्त्र विचारेणैक निपुनो सद्धर्मा संस्थापको लोकानां हितकारिणो त्रिभुवने मन्नो शरणाकरो राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजना नंदेन मत्तालिको राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजना नंदेन मत्तालिको नंदेन वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपालको वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपालको वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपालको श्रीजीव गोपालको वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगो श्रीजीव गोपालको हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम हरे राम राम हरे हरे नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna. So we have covered up to third chapter of the first volume of Brihad Bhagavatamritam yesterday, and this first chapter, first volume, is actually describing Narad Muni's search for the best recipient of Krishna's mercy. The devotee is seeking for Krishna's mercy. The greater the devotee, more advanced the devotee, the greater he becomes a recipient of Krishna's mercy. So Narad Muni is searching actually for the greatest devotee. And his search began in Prayag, in Allahabad, where Ganga, Jamuna and Saraswati, these three rivers meet in the confluence of Prayag. In the month of Magh, they celebrate the Magh Mela there, the festival in the month of Magh. And all the great sages, all the great devotees, great Vaishnavas assemble there to worship Madhav. Krishna is present in Prayag as Madhav, Vindu Madhav. And in that assembly, Narad found that all the devotees are glorifying each other as the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. And by nature, the devotees generally are humble. They don't accept glorification. They don't even want to be recognized as a devotee. At the most, they admit that they are aspiring to become a devotee, trying to become a devotee. So, in this way, Narad Muni decided to find out who is actually, because the devotees are so humble, it's very difficult to recognize a devotee. Therefore, Narad Muni decided to find out who is actually the greatest devotee. So at that time, Narad Muni saw that the leader of the Brahmanas in that area came to the bank of the Ganges and started to worship the Lord as the Shaligram Shila. He was very opulent. That Brahman was very opulent and he made nice arrangements for the worship, and after elaborate worship, he offered various foodstuffs to the Lord, and then he distributed that food, prasad, remnants of the Lord, to all the Vaishnavas there, Brahmanas there. Then he also fed the other people, those who were present there. Even the outcasts got the prasad, even the animals got the prasad. And then, after distributing the prasad to all, he actually sat with his family and honored the prasad. Seeing his devotion, Narad Muni considered him to be the greatest devotee. So Narad Muni told him that you are the greatest devotee. But and Narad Muni told him why he was the greatest devotee, because he is using all his assets in serving the Lord. Everything that he has, he is engaging that in the service of the Lord. And then he is distributing the mercy of the Lord to everybody. So this is the sign of a great devotee. But the Brahmana told Narad Muni that actually he is not a devotee. He is simply executing his duty as a Brahmana. The Brahmana's duty is to worship the Lord, and as a result of that he is worshipping him. The real devotee is the king in South India, and he is so opulent and he is so powerful, he is so influential. And although he is such a great king, he is serving the Lord in such a wonderful way. So Narad Muni, he told Narad Muni to go there and see the Lord there, how he is being worshipped. And then Narad Muni went to South India, to the king, and there he saw the grand temple and how wonderfully king is actually arranging for the service to the Lord, and how he is making all his citizens devotees of the Lord. So seeing that, Narad Muni became very excited and he started to glorify the king. But the king, in a very humble way, said, no. What greatness did you see in me? What opulence did you see in me? After all, I am just an ordinary human being. And what is the extent of my opulence? Rather, the real devotees are the demigods in heaven, because they have such brilliant bodies. They have such long duration of life. And their opulence cannot be measured by any material calculation. And among all the demigods, Indra is the greatest. So in this way, he suggested that Indra is the greatest devotee. And the Lord is so pleased with him that he himself appeared as his brother, younger brother, Bamandev, Upendra. Upendra means younger brother of Indra. And the Lord personally accepts Indra's worship to him. So in this way, the king started to glorify Indra as the greatest devotee. So Narad Muni immediately went to the heavenly planet and he started to glorify Indra. He saw how the Lord was sitting next to Indra and he was accepting Indra's worship and assuring Indra. Indra, There is nothing to worry about. Don't ever be afraid of the demons. I will always protect you. And in this way, the Lord was also assuring Indra, bestowing his mercy upon him personally. So then, Narad Muni, after the Lord left and left that assembly, Narad Muni approached Indra and started to glorify him as the greatest devotee. So Indra became very embarrassed, told Narad Muni that please don't speak like that. Like, you consider me to be a devotee? Like, just consider how often I offended the Lord. And he started to mention about the incidences. Like how when the Lord, instead of worship, how the Lord instructed the residents of Golok, Vrindavan, instead of worshipping Indra, to worship Giriraj Govardhan. And Indra became so upset that he just wanted to destroy Vrindavan. And how the Lord protected the residents of Vrindavan and vanquished his pride, defeated his pride. For 7 days he held Govardhan. And in this way Indra started to tell about various activities, how he offended the Lord. And then Indra actually pointed out that actually your father Brahma is the greatest devotee. So then Narad Muni went to Satyaloka and approached Lord Brahma and started to glorify him as the greatest devotee. Brahma also refused to accept that recognition. Rather, he chastised Narad. Narad, so many times I have to tell you that I am not the greatest. The greatest devotee is Lord Shiva. And Brahma started to explain to Narad that how he also offended the Lord so many times by giving boons to the demons like Hiranyakashipu, who caused so much distress to a devotee like Prahlad. He was an enemy of Krishna, and eventually Krishna had to come and kill him as Lord Nrsingadev. He also mentioned about the incident when he stole Krishna's cows, Krishna's cowherd boyfriends, just to test who this little boy was. And in this way Brahma also started to mention that so many times he offended the Lord. And he said that he is not a recipient of the Lord's mercy. Then Brahma indicated that Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee because he is a friend of the Lord. And he started to describe how Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee. So then Narad Muni went to Shivaloka and started to glorify Lord Shiva, who was dancing in ecstasy, singing the glory of the Lord. But when Narad started to glorify him as the greatest devotee, Lord Shiva stopped dancing and he started to chastise Narad. Narad, what are you talking about? Me, the greatest devotee? I fought with the Lord as his enemy so many times, failing to recognize his identity. when my devotee Bana offended the Lord by arresting Pradyumna, then I went and fought against the Lord. But the Lord smashed my pride. When Kasiraj challenged the Lord, then thinking that that person is my devotee, Kasiraj, I sided with him. And in this way Lord Shiva also started to describe his failing. And then Lord Shiva started to glorify the residents of Vaikuntha as the greatest devotee. And he explained, they are such great devotees that the Lord is always with them. And they are constantly serving the Lord in pure devotion. So when, in this way, Lord Shiva was glorifying the residents of Vaikuntha as the greatest devotee, then Lakshmi Devi admitted, Parvati, Lord Shiva's consort, admitted that actually Lakshmi Devi is the greatest devotee in Vaikuntha. So Narad Muni was about to go to Vaikuntha. Then Lord Shiva stopped him. He said, Narad, actually the greatest devotee is Prahlad. The Lord showered His mercy so much upon him. He saved him from so many calamities. And He showered so much affection which He didn't otherwise showered upon anyone. So when, then hearing Prahlad's glory, Narad Muni went to Sutala Loka, where Prahlad Maharaj was. So, going to Prahlad Maharaj, Narad Muni started. So now the 4th chapter is describing Narad Muni's meeting with Prahlad Maharaj. Up to 3rd chapter, these are the descriptions, like earthly devotion, heavenly devotion, and beyond the material nature. And then he is coming to a devotee, bhakta. So Prahlad is a pure devotee of the Lord. Then upon hearing the glorification of Prahlad Maharaj from Lord Shiva, Narad Muni immediately went to Sutala Loka. At that time, Prahlad, as the best of the Vaishnavas, was in a secluded place, absorbed in the loving meditation on the Lord's lotus feet. Narad Muni, and seeing Narad Muni, Prahlad Maharaj immediately got up and offered obeisances to him. But Narad Muni refused to accept Prahlada's obeisances, and he came close to him, and so he actually offered obeisances to Prahlad. Then he embraced Prahlad Maharaj. So when Narad Muni started to glorify Prahlad Maharaj as the greatest devotee, Prahlad Maharaj very humbly admitted that what great devotion you saw in me. Like in a childish way, I developed some attachment to the Lord. And my father was inimical to the Lord, and when he saw that I became a devotee of Vishnu, then he wanted to correct me. And when he failed to correct me, then he decided to kill me. So at that time, out of his natural affection, the Lord protected me time and time again. A devotee is the one who renders service to the Lord. What service did I render to him? I did not render any service to him. And then, after the Lord killed my father, he offered his kingdom to me, and I became the king. And I became so absorbed in my royal responsibilities that where is the time for devotion, service? Sometimes I just meditate upon his lotus feet, but I cannot render service to him as such. A devotee is the one who renders service. So consider Hanuman, the service that he rendered to the Lord. He carried a mountain. He jumped across the ocean. When he was a little child, he was blessed by all the demigods and received all kinds of boons from them. The power of Hanuman, the ability of Hanuman is inconceivable. And with that inconceivable power, he rendered so much service to the Lord. So in this way, he started to glorify Hanuman as the greatest devotee. So then, hearing that, Narad Muni decided to go to Hanuman in King Purusha Varsha. And when Narad Muni arrived there, he found that that Hanuman is singing the glory of Lord Ramchandra, playing, singing and dancing. And seeing that Narad Muni coming, singing the glory of the Lord, playing on his veena, Hanuman became so excited that he jumped and met Narad Muni in the mid-air. And he embraced Narad Muni. And they stood there in the space for some time in that way. Standing in the sky, Narad Muni was overjoyed. With his feet he danced, and with his hands he wiped the flood of loving tears from the eyes of the Lord of the monkeys. Sharing Hanuman's loving mood of ecstasy, Narad Muni started to speak in a loud voice. Narad Muni started to praise Hanuman. Truly, you are the dearest devotee of the Lord. Today, just seeing you, I too have become dear to the Lord. And when Hanuman heard that, Hanuman became sober. He controlled as if his ecstasy was gone. He came back to his senses. And he bowed down to Narad Muni to show respect to him. He greeted him with reverence and brought him to the temple of Lord Ramchandra. And Narad Muni paid respect to the Lord in Hanuman's temple, and Hanuman arranged for Narad Muni to be seated. And Narad Muni then started to tell him that you are the greatest recipient of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. No one can compare to you. You are always immersed in an ocean of ecstatic worship of the Lord, enjoying the newer and newer ecstasy every moment. You are the Lord's servant, you are His friend, you are His carrier, you are His seat, you are His flag, you are His umbrella, you are His canopy, you are His advisor, you are His doctor, because Hanuman brought the medicine for him. You are His general, you are His best helper, you are the expander of His infinite glories. So this is how Hanuman served Lord Ramchandra. When Lord Ramchandra was fighting, then Hanuman, Ravan had elaborate arrangements, his chariot and things. So Hanuman carried Ramchandra and Ramchandra fought. So this is how Hanuman became Lord's carrier. He became his seat. He became his flag. He was his friend. And in this way, Narad Muni declared that he was the greatest recipient of the Lord's mercy. And he considered him that you are even a greater, your service to the Lord is even greater than Garuda's. Indeed, your devotion for the Lord is absolutely pure, for you consider nothing more valuable than the pleasure of serving Him. In this way, Narad Muni started to glorify Hanuman. How he brought the message of Sita Devi, how he burnt Lanka alone. He wiped out one regiment of Ravana's army. Just alone, Hanuman. So powerful. And then Hanuman allowed himself to be arrested to find out Ravana's strength. Ravan couldn't actually arrest Hanuman. When Indrajit used Brahmastra in order to show respect to Brahma, Hanuman allowed himself to be arrested. And when he was arrested, then they Ravan decided to kill Hanuman. But Bibhishan said, he's a messenger. The messenger should be killed. Then it was decided that his tail should be burnt. Because the monkeys take pride on their tails. So that would be a proper way to deal with him. But when they caught his tail into fire, they lit fire on his tail, wrapping a huge amount of cloth and pouring inflammable objects like oil and things. Then Hanuman started to jump from one palace to another. And in this way Hanuman burnt the whole of Lanka. Lanka was made of gold. The houses there was made of gold. Swarna Lanka, golden Lanka. So in this way Hanuman burnt the whole of Lanka. And it has been described that the gold, after melting due to the burning of the palaces, all the cities, the whole city was destroyed. All the houses were burnt. And there was a river of gold that was flowing into the ocean. So that is how Hanuman actually burned the whole of, and then went back and reported to Lord Ramchandra that he found Sita. Hanuman was also ready to carry Sita on his back. Come, I will carry you across the ocean to Ramchandra. Sita refused. No, I cannot touch any other male. Sita was so chaste. And the other point that Sita Devi gave was that I want Lord Ramchandra to come and rescue me. If you rescue me, then it will be an insult to Lord Ramchandra, as if he was not capable to rescue me. So these are the points Sita Devi gave. So Hanuman went and reported to Lord Ramchandra. He told what happened. And this way Lord Ramchandra was so pleased with Hanuman that he embraced Hanuman. So describing that, Narad Muni told that you are the greatest recipient of the Lord's mercy. Upon hearing all that, Hanuman started to cry. He said, as it is, I am burning from the agony of separation from the Lord. Now, why are you igniting the fire even more by saying all these things? If I was the recipient of His mercy, then why did He leave me? He took everybody with Him to Vaikuntha, but He left me behind. Of course, Ramchandra wanted Hanuman to stay back to sing his glory and spread his devotion. So this is how sometimes the Lord wants the preachers to stay on this planet. The others get liberation, but He doesn't give liberation. Others are taken back to Godhead, but the preachers are not taken back to Godhead. Because He wants them to stay, and the preachers, the devotees are happy, serving the Lord wherever they are. But Hanuman was feeling intense separation from the Lord. He was such a great devotee that a moment's separation from Him was burning his heart in agony. And in this way, Hanuman cried for a while. And then Narad Muni calmed him and spoke. Hanuman said, "O best of the sages, Narad Muni, why are you doing this to such a wretch devoid of the lotus feet of Sri Ramchandra? Why do you make me cry by reminding me of how the Lord has neglected me? You are saying that I am the recipient of His mercy, but actually I am the recipient of His neglect. If I am really the Lord's servant, then why did He forcibly abandon me when He took with Him to His spiritual kingdom His dear devotees, Sugriva and all the residents of Koshala? You are very kind to me because you have the good fortune to engage in His service. You conclude that the Lord has given me His favor." Then Hanuman started to tell Narad Muni that actually the Pandavas are the greatest devotee of the Lord, because He is always with them. Pandavas are getting His constant association. The Lord is present there in Dwarka. And he started to describe how the Pandavas are the greatest devotee of the Lord. He acted as their servant, advisor, messenger, charioteer, and court attendant. He kept watch for them at night, followed them on processions, and even offered them praise and obeisances. Out of his affectionate concern for them, what would the Lord not do for them? He was seen taking the combined role of their servant, companion, and dearmost friend, and they took the same role for him. So this is how the Lord and the Pandavas reciprocated with each other. Because the Lord resides constantly with the Pandavas, their capital city has become like a sacred forest where great sages perform austerities. And residing in the city, one receives the same pious benefits as performing austere acts of penance. Upon hearing these words, Narad became uncontrollably eager to see the lotus feet of Krishna, who was present with the Pandavas. And he simply went to the Pandavas. And so in this way, Narad Muni now approached the Pandavas. When he arrived there, Yudhishthir Maharaj just was consulting with his inner circle about how to seek Krishna by bringing him on the pretext of some sacrifice or calamity. Yudhishthir Maharaj, eager to see Krishna, was considering how to bring him to Indraprastha. Now at that time he was in Hastinapur actually. And you're saying that either if we perform a sacrifice, then the Lord will come. Or if there is some great calamity, then the Lord will come. But upon seeing Narad Muni, he immediately stood up with his brother, mother and wives. As Yudhishthir eagerly rushed forward to meet him, Narad Muni came close and bowed down. Here we can see Narad Muni, although the guru of all, he is offering obeisances to Yudhishthir Maharaj and the other Pandavas. Then Narad Muni continued to glorify the Pandavas. O saintly Pandavas, is anyone bold enough to let his tongue describe the unique love of Krishna that each of you has or the special mercy he bestowed upon you? Your mother Pritha once heard from the mouth of Akrura a single statement by Krishna, sweet with affection and meant to console her. As soon as she heard it, she plunged into a swiftly flowing current of prema. That is how great was Kunti's love for Krishna. So, and Narad Muni started to describe the glories of the Pandavas. Krishna bestowed upon Yudhishthir the highest prestige, greater than that of anyone else in the upper or lower worlds. And by favors like allowing Bhima to kill Jarasandha, Krishna granted Bhima unequaled fame, because no one could kill Jarasandha. But Krishna made Bhim kill Jarasandha, and this way he allowed him to have the unique fame as a warrior. Saintly Arjun became renowned throughout the world for his intimate friendship with Krishna. I can never sing all the glories of Arjun, even if I recite hundreds of Puranas. And as for Nakul and Sahadev, everyone has seen many times how fixed they are in love for Krishna, as shown, for example, by how those twins behaved in the deliberation on whom to worship first in the Rajasuya. When Rajasuya Yajna was performed by Yudhishthir Maharaj, in the Yajna, one aspect of the Yajna is to receive the most honorable person and offer him Argha Puja. Argha. The most exalted personality is offered the Argha, the worship in the assembly. At that time, there was a consideration, who is the most exalted personality? Different people consider different people. Vasudeva was there, Bhishma was there, all other exalted personalities were present. And at that time, Nakul and Sahadev started to glorify Krishna. That Krishna is the most honorable person. Naturally. But only a devotee knows the glory of Krishna. A devotee could recognize Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna at that time was treated like an ordinary human being. Krishna was Pandava's cousin. Krishna was a son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Krishna grew up in the Vrindavan, although a Kshatriya. Instead of getting Kshatriya training, he spent his childhood in a forest of Vrindavan with the Vaishyas, and all he did is tended cows, was not even grew up like a warrior, Kshatriya. So in this way, different people saw Krishna in a different way. But Sahadev started to glorify Krishna. Look, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From his activities you can see that. Consider his Vrindavan pastimes. Indra was embarrassed. Brahma was made to realize his own mistake. And eventually they recognized Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why don't you all also see that? That here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Do you think Brahma was wrong? Do you think do you think Indra was wrong? Do you think all these demigods were wrong? Do you think all these sages were wrong? Do you think Lord Shiva was wrong? So why don't you just accept? But the demons are so unfortunate that they can't receive and act according to good advice. In Bengali, there is a saying, Chore na shone dharmer kahini. A thief doesn't listen to the purports of the scriptures. A thief is not interested in the wise advice that has been presented in the scriptures. The demons cannot recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter what. They are so proud. Demon means materialistic people. Those who are most materialistic, they actually act like a demon. We are seeing that today. The whole world today is full of demons. They may not have horns and canine teeth and claws, hideous form. They may look like ordinary human being. They may be situated in big exalted position, but actually from their actions one can see that they are demons. The world today is full of demons. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement is so wonderful that this movement even converts a demon to be a devotee. The greatest demons, Jagai and Madhai, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, became devotees. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, that is Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Converting the demons into devotees. So, I'm just looking at the time and I'm wondering how I'm going to finish it, because at the same time I can't even cut it short because these informations are so important. And anyway, let me see if I can go fast. So go quickly through these passages. So this way Narad Muni started to glorify the Pandavas, and then he also glorified Draupadi, that Krishna treated her as a friend and addressed Draupadi, my dear friend. And Krishna showed his mercy in such a wonderful way to Draupadi. Whenever Draupadi remembered Krishna, Krishna immediately came. When she was being insulted in the assembly by Dushashan and other demons there, Krishna came to protect her. When Durvasa came with 64,000 disciples to be fed, when Pandavas were in the forest and there was no food, then Krishna came to their rescue, protected them. Krishna with his own hand washed the hair of Draupadi. So in this way, actually Draupadi took a vow, because Dushashan caught her by her hair. And Draupadi took a vow, then until that time that person is killed, I am not going to tie my hair. She kept her hair loose all this time. Bhima took a vow that he will drink his blood. He will kill him and he would drink his blood. And he did that. Bhima tore open Dushashan's chest, and the blood that was oozing out, Bhima was drinking that. Of course, it has been said that it touched his lips, but it didn't go beyond that. So this is how Krishna made them keep their vows, because the situation was so tense. They all were so angry, but they could not break the normal code of conduct, because they have been conquered by Duryodhan in that game of dice. Because they have become his servants, they could not fight with him. And they took advantage of that. They dragged Draupadi and wanted to insult her, wanted to disrobe her in public. But they couldn't do anything. But they actually took a vow that the time will come. When the time will come, I will take revenge. So, so then Yudhishthir Maharaj mentioned that how it is just Krishna's compassion upon them that they took that he acted in that way, always protecting them. It is due to, and then finally, I'm just going quickly now, finally Kunti Devi actually told that actually the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy are the Jadus. They are his relatives, and Krishna is always there in Dwarka with them. So upon hearing them, Narad Muni went to Dwarka to be with the Jadus and see Krishna there. So he went there and he saw King Ugrasen sitting in Sudharma assembly. The Sudharma assembly was brought from heaven. Krishna got it from heaven, and he brought two things from heaven to Dwarka: Sudharma assembly and Parijata tree. So, and there he started to glorify the Jadavas, that they are the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. But then King Ugrasen told that actually among the Jadus, Uddhav is the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. He is Krishna's friend. He is Krishna's advisor, minister, Krishna's messenger. And he is always with Krishna. He stays with Krishna, serving him. And actually from his childhood he has developed this attachment to Krishna. When the children play with toys, Uddhava was playing in worshipping Krishna. So great was his attachment to Krishna. And Krishna also reciprocated, like he offered him the greatest position. And Uddhava is with Krishna all the time. It has been described, Krishna, when he goes to sleep, Uddhava massages his feet, and then when he falls asleep, he places Krishna's head on his lap. And even if he goes home after Krishna falls asleep, and he comes back before Krishna wakes up. So this is the glory of Uddhava's devotion to Krishna, and how he is the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. And so hearing Ugrasen's words, Narad Muni went to the inner house of the Dwarka palace where Krishna was. But that when he went there, Narad Muni was ecstatic hearing Uddhav's glory. Where is Uddhav? Uddhav is with Krishna. Last night Uddhav didn't go home. He just stayed there. So if you want to meet Uddhav, don't go to his house. Go to the inner part of the palace where Krishna is. And by the way, tell him that it's already quite late. So tell Uddhav to bring Krishna quickly to the assembly, because everyone is waiting for him. So upon hearing Uddhava's devotion, Narad Muni became so ecstatic that he couldn't walk properly. His feet were trembling. He was as if he was falling off. He couldn't control himself. And playing on his veena, singing the glory of the Lord, and his devotees, Narad Muni approached the inner part of the palace where Krishna was. And he found that Krishna didn't wake up. for some reason, disturbed in mind and asleep in the inner quarter, then Uddhava had left him and sat down nearby on a terrace because Krishna was still lying in bed. And there Uddhava was joined by Balaram, Devaki and Rohini and the queens like Rukmini and Satyabhama, as well as various maidservants and other ladies, including Kamsa's mother, Padmavati. So they were sitting in the terrace, nearby terrace, and they were talking among themselves. All of them sat there in silent, in shock. But when they saw that Narad Muni has arrived and he was in an ecstatic, he was acting strange. Narad Muni was walking as if he couldn't move properly. Just like a drunkard moves, Narad Muni was moving like that in ecstasy. So that's why they felt that they were quite shocked to see Narad Muni in that strange condition. Standing up, they brought him carefully to where they had been sitting. They took a moment to restore him to a condition closer to normal and wiped dry his face, because his face was wet with tears of love. Then they spoke to him simply and gently. They said, "We have never seen you behave like this. What is this sudden change in you, dear Brahmana? Please sit here for a moment." Narad replied in a choking voice, tears flowing from his eyes as he began to speak. He opened his eyes with difficulty and bowed down to offer respects. He was trembling, and the hairs on his body stood erect. Narad Muni began to speak. "Please arrange for me to meet Uddhava, the only true object of exquisite good fortune, or else let me have from his feet one particle of dust. Then alone will my heart be at peace. He has received an abundance of our Lord's mercy, never gained by the Lord's other servants in the past or even now. Because Uddhava is the greatest of all Vaishnavas, the Lord himself calls Uddhava one of his own special expansions. No one has ever been as dear to the Lord. Neither the Lord's direct sons like Brahma, nor friends like Lord Shiva, nor brothers like Balaram, nor the goddess Rama, Lakshmi Devi, or the Lord's other wives. Not even his own unique transcendental body as dear as Uddhava is. Krishna himself admitted that Uddhava is more dear to him than his own body. The Supreme Lord's own words disclosed in the Puranas tell the abounding glories of Uddhava's good fortune. Then impelled by Narad Muni's words in this way, Uddhava suddenly stood up, held Narada's feet and embraced them. He just held his feet and embraced them. "My Lord, what are you saying?" Aware of what Narad was thinking, Uddhava remembered many devotees who had received the Lord's special favor. As Uddhava meditated on those devotees, their love for the Lord and their wealth of their loving ecstasies, he felt distressed, thinking himself fallen, and cried helplessly. Only with some effort was he able to regain his composure. Then he became joyful and spoke to the sage, moved by the sattvika emotion of jealousy. Uddhava told, "O mighty one, knower of everything, most truthful speaker, greatest of the sages, you are the master who teaches the means and the end of bhakti, devotional service to the Supreme Lord. All you just said about me and more is self-evident to me. I knew it was true before you said it, and so did others. What I saw with my own eyes during my recent trip to Braja took my pride in my special good fortune has been suddenly crushed to dust." Uddhav also used to think that he was the greatest devotee. But when he went to Vrindavan, then his pride was smashed by seeing the devotion of the residents of Vrindavan. Since then, I have understood the amazing sweetness of Krishna's mercy, of love for him, and of those who possess that love. Just by what I saw in Braja, I came to be most blessed. I was swept away in an ocean of ecstasy, thinking myself completely favored by the Lord, a recipient of His mercy, His most extreme mercy. And in this way, he started to describe, and then Rohini Devi told that because she lived in Gokul for a long time, its resident held her in high regards. Rohini Devi said, "Alas, dear servants of Hari, the residents of Braja have by evil fate been all but slain. They have lost the last trace of good fortune and are drowning in an ocean of gloom. There they suffer, poisoned and scorched in the flames of an underwater of fire. So please do not destroy my moment of happiness by reminding me of them." Rohini Devi is saying that reminding the residents of Braja brings such pain to her heart that she loses her composure, she loses her ecstasy, happiness. When Sri Vasudev brought me back from Gokul, the cities of the greatly distraught Jashoda made even stones shed tears, and lightning bolts shatter, and who can let the mouth speak about the other women of Braja who after Krishna left became like living dead bodies. Then Rukmini said, "My dear mother, you don't understand the inner feelings of Krishna at all. His heart is softer than newly churned butter. Why are you saying these things? Just hear from me what I have heard. Sometimes at night, he says this and that is in his sleep." So when Krishna is asleep, in his sleep he calls out to the residents of Vrindavan, as if Krishna goes to Vrindavan. And there he calls out to the residents, the cows, the cowherd boys, his mother and father, and the gopis, in such a loving way. So Rukmini Devi admitted, "Yes, I know Krishna's love for the residents of Vrindavan. And he calls his girlfriends or some of the cowherd boys, and sometimes while asleep, he acts as if he were placing his flute to his mouth and assumes his enchanting threefold bending form. While asleep, he sometimes says, "Mother, give me some fresh butter." Sometimes he calls out to me, "O Shri Radha, O Shri Lalita." Sometimes he pulls on my garment and asks me, "Chandravali, what are you doing?" And sometimes he drenches the pillow on his bed with flood of tears. So that is how Krishna was in Dwarka. Krishna is missing Vrindavan so much. Then at times he suddenly wakes up, rises from bed and cries in pitiful voice, drowning us in an ocean of pain and grief. Just last night he must have seen something in a dream, because today he has been weeping sorrowfully and is beside himself with agitation. Now he is lying in bed as if asleep, his cloth pulled over his head. He has not even performed his morning duties. Although it's so late in the day, Krishna didn't wake up. Krishna didn't leave his bed. And in this way, then Balaram blamed Krishna. Balaram said that during darling son of Rohit, Balaram said, "Dear ladies, all this is nothing but my brother's clever deception." This is nothing but my brother's clever deception. We are intent upon speaking about the misery of the residents of Braja, misery all too real, and he is simply cheating us. I stayed there in Braja for 2 months and tried to restore Brajavasis to normal, but nothing I said or did was of any avail. Seeing no other way to achieve my purpose, I made hundreds of promises to them, and with great effort finally consoled them to some extent. Then I managed to pull myself away and hurried back here. I anxiously requested, "Krishna, please find some excuse to go to your cowherd village just once and save the lives of the people there." I have been telling Krishna, "Krishna, go to Vrindavan. You find some time and go to Vrindavan, because they all are like dead due to your absence from there. They are living corpses, living dead bodies." And he would say, Krishna would say, "Certainly I shall go." But in his heart, he thought otherwise. Although Krishna would say that, "Yes, certainly I'll go," but he doesn't go. So certainly in his heart he has some other feelings. Indeed, the truth about a person's mind can be known from how he acts. Hearing this, the personality of Godhead, who is ruled by the love of those dear to him, suddenly got up from his bed and came outside loudly weeping. Krishna started to cry, came out crying. And from his fully blossoming lotus eyes rained a flood of tears. With a choking voice, tormented by compassion for others, he spoke as follows. "Yes, it is true. My heart is made of solid diamond, It must be so, because it has not yet split in half. It didn't split into pieces. It didn't break into pieces. My heart is so hard, as if it has been made with the hardest material, diamond. Those devotees took care of me for so long, from the very beginning of my childhood, and still I have forgotten all about their exceptional love. But that, as it may, I must somehow do something to help them. I have indeed been cruel to have caused these gentle souls such extreme grief. Oh brother Uddhav, you know everything, and you are the best of my dear friends. Please tell me at once what I should do. Please lift me from this ocean of distress. So Krishna was appealing to Uddhav, please tell me what I should do now. So Uddhava then advised Krishna to return to Vraja. Although the personality of God, then Uddhava heard these words. He pretended he had not. Driven by sorrow, he then inquired from Uddhava, and as though ignorant. The Supreme Lord said, "O best of the learned scholars, you know all the thoughts of the residents of Vraja. Please tell me without delay what it is they desire." Uddhava was taken aback. He shied briefly and then answered, full of remorse. Uddhava said, "The people of Braja don't want from you the power and wealth of emperors, nor the enjoyment found in heaven, nor anything else obtainable in this world or the next. They desire nothing else but you. Kindly favor me with your attention. Think over what I am about to say, and then act as you see fit." Before, when the cowherds met Nanda and saw the jewels and other gifts you had sent with him, when Nanda Maharaj went back from Mathura, but Krishna stayed back, Krishna sent many jewels and other gifts. But they spoke to one another, immersed in an ocean of grief. Oh, how very painful. Krishna now thinks that we want such presents from him and deserve this kind of mercy. Their mood was, only thing they want is just Krishna. They didn't want anything else. But Krishna sent the gift, as if they wanted that. Therefore, damn our lives and breath that still moves in our throats. And damn Nanda and the cowherd men. They should have left those things behind and instead brought Krishna himself. They're blaming Nanda Maharaj and other cowherd people. Why did they come back taking these gifts, taking these presents? Why didn't they dump it there? Because they know these things don't have any value to us. They should have actually brought Krishna here. And what kind of a person they are, they left Krishna behind. As if they don't have any consideration. But Krishna never came, and we heard the message you had sent with. Then Buddha was saying, but you never went there. Instead you sent me with your message. And when that message was conveyed to them, they almost died from disappointment. Seeing them so despondent, I made every effort to keep them alive by promising you would surely come back. Then I returned here with the promise that yes, you will go there soon. To attain you, these devotees then renounced all enjoyment of the senses and all material shelter. Please ask your elder brother here what state they are in. From dread of great pain of separation from Krishna, the faces of ladies like Devaki and Rukmini were pale, downcast, and full of tears. Looking at the women affectionately, gentle-hearted Krishna quickly gestured for an ink pot and paper. Krishna meant to strengthen the faith of his Braja devotees by sending them a letter filled with loving sentiment and written by his own hand. My dear friend, please know that as soon as I settle the duties before me and satisfy my relatives here, I will return in no time. I'll be there. Uddhava could understand what Krishna was about to do, and therefore greatly distressed, knowing the inner hearts of the Brajavasis, he cried and begged Krishna to reconsider his plan to go back to Vrindavan. Uddhav said, "O Master, please turn your attention to this. Unless your 2 lotus feet make a blessed journey to Vraja, there is no way to assure that your people of Braja will survive. Those people want nothing but your lotus feet." And Uddhav looked at the face of Balaram, who knew all the tidings of Braja, both past and present, saw that it was covered with tears. Baladev, the son of Rohini, was unable to keep his composure. Remembering Braja and understanding his brother's mood, he began crying without control. But then he managed to speak distinctly. Balaram said, "Why speak only about the cows, dear Krishna? All the animals of Braja are your beloved friends, and so also are the birds and the trees like the Bhandira and Kadamba. The grass, the creepers, the lush bushes have all dedicated their lives to you. Now they are all wasting away, and so too are the rivers and mountains. Some of the people, dear brother, live only on the hope of your promise were true. Better you not ask to hear more news than this." And then Balaram and Krishna both started to roll on the ground, and for a moment lost consciousness, seeing the 2 lords crying in unprecedented lamentable state. All the residents of the inner palace lost control of themselves, and they also started to cry. Rohini, Uddhav, Devaki, Rukmini, Satyabhama, and all others, they all lost control and started to sob loudly. When from inside the palace, inside the court, the assembly, Ugrasen and others heard the cry, they wondered what happened. When the Jadus heard the sound of distress crying coming from the inner palace, a sound never heard there before, they quickly came running, headed by Vasudeva and Ugrasen. The Brahmanas arrived, led by Garga, along with all the other people of the city. And when they saw their beloved master in this extraordinary state they had never seen before, they began to cry also, overwhelmed. So everyone started to cry, seeing that Krishna and Balaram in that condition. Krishna and Balaram started to cry and they fainted. And so, seeing that, they all also started to cry. And in this way, when the sound of Krishna's lamentation with his family members filled the universe, a series of terrible omens quickly ensued. Because 400 Brahma could not find no one else to explain the cause of these omens, he himself came to see what happened. Brahma arrived there to find out what actually happened. He came there accompanied by Vedas, the Puranas, his personal attendants and various demigods. Brahma found that his own father and spiritual master, the original Narayan, in an unprecedented state, distressed by love for his beloved devotees. Seeing the Lord thusly in this way, Brahma was astonished. For a moment, he also lost gravity and began to cry. Even Brahma started to cry. With difficulty, Brahma brought himself under control and started thinking of how to restore the normal condition. And then he thought of something. Crying he called Garuda, and but Garuda also was crying and he didn't hear Brahma's call. So Brahma, after a lot of difficulty, caught his attention and called Garuda. And Brahma told Garuda, there is another Sri Vrindavan here, between Raivata hill and the sea. There's a mountain, Raivatak mountain, and the ocean. And there, Vishwakarma has created another Vrindavan. They're all the statues of Vrindavan, like as if it's all Vrindavan, but they all are statues, murtis. So carefully, he told Garuda, carefully take Krishna and Balaram to that place, and only Rohini should go with them. No one else should go there with them. Being advised by Brahma in this way, Garuda carried Krishna and Balaram. Balaram by that time regained consciousness. Balaram regained consciousness, and upon arriving in Nava Vrindavan, in New Vrindavan, Balaram gently placed Krishna on a bed. And the gopis and gopas stood around the bed. Like they were there around Krishna's bed, as if they were Krishna's real cowherd men and women. Uddhava came with Devaki there, who dearly loved her son, and also with Rukmini, Satyabhama and other queens, and Padmavati. They simply couldn't leave Krishna in such a state. But Brahma requested them, please don't come here, stay at a distance. And they took up a position distance away from where they could still see Krishna. And Narad Muni, thinking that he has committed an offense, did not accompany the demigods or Jadavas, but instead, with great curiosity, he hid himself in the midst of the sky. Narad Muni hid himself in the sky, and from there he is watching what is happening. Then Balaram quickly cleaned his own face and that of Krishna's. Then he gently placed a flute in the waist of Krishna's dhoti, a buffalo horn and a stick in Krishna's hands, a garland of kadamba flower around his neck, a peacock feather ornament on his head, and newly fashioned rings of gunja berries on his ears. So Balaram dressed Krishna up like a cowherd boy. In Dwarka, Krishna was dressed as a prince, but now he is dressed as a Balaram dressed him as a cowherd boy. Thus, having arranged the forest outfit for Krishna with items made by Vishwakarma quickly made those things. Balaram, with some effort, lifted Krishna and then spoke to him loudly. Krishna, Krishna, my dear brother, get up, wake up from your sleep. Just see, it is now getting late. The cows are already entering into the forest. Sudama and your other friends have already left and they're waiting for you. And your parents are so filled with love that they cannot even speak to you. The gopis are watching your lotus face and laughing at you as they whisper something in one another's ears. As if the gopis were talking to each other ears. In this way, Balaram filled the scene with talk. He called Krishna by his various names, caressed him, and dragged him around in his arms until Krishna finally got up and came back to some sort of consciousness. So then Krishna opened his eyes, smiled, and quickly looked around. Seeing Nanda in front of him, he felt embarrassed and bowed down to him. Krishna saw Mother Jashoda also standing nearby, her eyes open wide and unblinking as if pasted on her face. Laughing in joy, he lovingly spoke. Krishna tells Mother Jashoda, Mother, dear Mother, this morning during my sleep, I saw many amazing things in just a short moment, as if I were awake. I saw that I had gone from here to Madhupuri. There I saw wicked men like Kamsa slain, kings like Jarasandha vanquished, and the demigods satisfied. A great city of Dwarka was built on the shore of the ocean, and so many other things happened. But now there isn't time enough to tell you about all of those activities. It's because of this long dream distracted me that I didn't get out of the bed on time like every other day. Krishna is giving excuses why he was so late to wake up. And he was saying that he was dreaming, that he went to Mathura, Kamsa has been killed, Jarasandha and other demons have been killed, a city has been built in the ocean, Dwarka. And he says so many things happened, I can't tell you. And then so then he told Balaram, dear respected brother, if you don't think this wonderful matter impossible, I'll explain it to you in detail when you go to the forest. Krishna offered his mother proper respect. Then the very expert Rohini sensed that Krishna wanted some food. Rohini was there, so she was acting as if she is there. So Krishna wanted some food to take with him to the forest. Rohini told quickly, "Dear child, your mother has no other son but you. She was so worried today by your extra sleeping that now she feels a bit ill. So I think we have talked enough." So she considered that now Krishna would want to carry some food with him, so he would ask for the food. So she quickly said, "Krishna, your mother couldn't cook the food today, prepare the food today for you, because she was in such anxiety because you are sleeping till so late that she didn't prepare anything." And the cows and the boys tending them have already gone ahead. You should quickly follow them. I'll prepare some nice refreshment for you and send them to you in the forest. Rohini said that I will prepare something and send some food to forest. Then Krishna offered his respect to Rohini, who had spoken to him with such love. Then with a smile on his face, like a thief, with a smile on his face like a thief, he just took the butter that was in Mother Jashoda's hand. He stole the butter. Like a thief, he stealthily took from Mother Jashoda's hand the butter she was holding. He then left to join his older brother, calling out his name. Generous Krishna did not eat this butter before reaching the cow, because this was not real butter. So Krishna, for some reason, didn't eat that. As he continued walking, playing his flute to keep the cows from wandering off, he then came upon Sri Radhika with her girlfriend and spoke to her with witty comments and charming smiles. Krishna told Radhika, "O mistress of my soul, why don't you speak to me, your devotee, whom you are now met in a secret place? What are you so busy with, my proud lady? How did I offend you, O omniscient one? You must knew everything that happened today in my dream." I left you and went elsewhere in a distant place. I married many princesses who had been preparing to end their lives, and I fathered sons, grandsons and great-grandsons. Krishna is thinking that all this Dwarka pastime was a dream. And he is thinking that Radharani is upset because she knew what was happening to Krishna in his dream. And that's why he called her also omniscient. You're omniscient, so you also know what actually happened to me in that dream. And that's why you are upset with me. Anyway, right now I have to go to the forest. Tonight at dusk, O bestower of satisfaction, you will enjoy with me. Having said this, Krishna threw himself a handful of flowers. Krishna threw a handful of flowers at Sri Radhika, looked all around, and then embraced and kissed her. He then went ahead to meet the cows and cowherd boys. As Devaki saw for the first time how wonderfully and all attractively Krishna was dressed for Braja and how he was playing his flute, milk started flowing from her breasts in great love, even though she was no longer young. Rukmini, Jambavati and other queens, bewildered by an intensity of love they had never felt before, lost their composure, fainted and fell on the ground. Only Kalindi, the daughter of sun god, had seen Krishna like this before. Being very intelligent, she somehow calmed herself down. She and Uddhava grabbed Satyabhama. Yes, Satyabhama and Padmavati were about to run towards Krishna. but Kalindi stopped them. So in this way, then Krishna then came to the shore of the ocean, and he thought it was Jamuna. And he called out the cows, and he wanted them to drink the water from Jamuna. And he told his friends, Shudama, Shidama, Subal, Arjun, and invited them, come, let's play in the water of Jamuna, in the cool water of Jamuna. Then when Krishna looked around on the sea coast, he noticed his own great city visible in the distance. Then Krishna saw Dwarka there. So Krishna was surprised. He noticed his own great city visible in the distance. Krishna was surprised and exclaimed, "What is this? Where am I? Who am I?" Astonished, he spoke these words again and again. And as he gazed at the vast ocean of the city, and the city, then Lord Balaram told him something. Balaram told him, "O my master, Lord of Vaikuntha, please consider who you are. You were asked by the demigods to descend to remove the burden of the earth. Now please destroy the wicked and protect everyone else. Your cousin Dharmaraj, King Yudhishthir, has undertaken a sacrifice. Please see to getting it performed. You have established Yudhishthir as emperor, but he is intimidated by Shalva's younger brother and by other exceedingly powerful villains. Please therefore go to Yudhishthir and with the help of the Jadus try to kill his enemies who are persecuting your devotees out of hatred for you." Upon hearing these words from Balaram, Krishna's mood changed. The personality of Godhead grew angry. "Brother, who are those useless creatures? Shalva's younger brother? And like him, I will go by myself and kill them at once. Trust these words of mine as true. They give my firm promise." Looking around again, Krishna remembered that he was the master of Dwarka, the divine king of the Jadus. He remembered that he had been sleeping inside the palace. Then he saw the flute in his hand, and himself and his older brother dressed like forest dwellers. Krishna perceived and gone out of the city to tend cows, and this filled him with surprise and doubt. He laughed as he pondered it. Then smiling, Balaram explained that this was all Brahma's arrangement and told Krishna the reasons why it had been done. Krishna then looked at his brother's face and smiled as if embarrassed. And since Krishna's body was covered with dust, Balaram wiped him clean and bathed him in the sea. At the time, Garuda arrived, and Krishna mounted on Garuda and returned to his palace. So Then they started to talk among themselves. Uddhava continued. Then Rukmini Devi brightly spoke. By hearing her words, all the devotees increased in love of Krishna. Devotees increased in love of Krishna. Rukmini Devi said, those women gave up everything. They started to speak about the residents of Vrindavan. Those women of Vrindavan gave up everything, their husbands, sons, and all else they had, disregarding their own fortune in this world and the next, enduring distress, they worshipped the Lord in their own way, enchanting Him in the rasa dance and other pastimes. We can hope to achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by following many rigorous spiritual practices, and we can meditate upon Him only by strictly training the attention of our hearts. But those gopis cherish such exceptional love for Him that they easily attain the success of the most advanced stage of meditation. It is befitting, therefore, that Krishna loves them more than us, for we are obsessed with our religious duties, social obligations, children, grandchildren, homes, household affairs, and so on. We are but His maidservant, worshipping Him with reverence like fallen conditioned souls. We married wives should not envy His exceptional love for the gopis. Rather, we should always glorify that love, for it proves how very subservient He becomes to His beloved devotees. So, then Krishna started to describe the glory of the residents of Vrindavan. But even for their pleasure, I were to return to live with them, I don't see how that would help. Acha, Krishna is actually speaking about their condition. If the people of Braja thought it good that I renounce everything, I promise that in a moment I would do just that. The praise offered by the Venerable Brahma was not spoken in vain. I can never fully repay these devotees, and so I am utterly indebted to them. Krishna himself says that he cannot pay the debts that he has to the gopi. Na paraye aham. So their pain won't be relieved. Even if they see me, their hearts will be so disturbed by thoughts of separation from me that whatever measure I take for their happiness will only double their grief. And when they cannot see me, they become so torn that the fire of separation leaves them sometimes as though dead and sometimes as though insane. If they see, Krishna is telling the condition of the gopis, if they see a patch of darkness resembling my complexion, they embrace and kiss it, mistaking it for me. What more can I describe? Therefore, my staying with them would be equal to my absence. Realizing this, I have not returned there. Now here, the real reason for me, Krishna is explaining to the queen, reason for marrying you. So then Krishna so in this way, so Krishna was singing the glory of the resident of Braja, especially the gopis. And he started to lament, alas, what I did and how I lived in Braja seem here so far away that with you I cannot even speak of those things. Just one person as dear to me as the devotees of Braja will be able to describe those topics. Sukadev, the son of Badarayana Vyasa, by the power of his great love in the mood of Brajavasis, he will speak something of those matters in his to his excellent disciple who resembles him in spiritual qualities and whom I once brought back to life. As the Supreme Lord continued ardently praising the splendor, the good fortune of Braja, the expert counselor Uddhav grew anxious, for the special ecstasies of Braja might again draw Lord into a trance. Uddhava became worried that Krishna may faint. Therefore, he gestured the ladies to do something. Satyabhama, Rukmini and the other queens at once surrounded their husband, touching his feet with their heads by offering prayers with plaintive voice. Wait with sobs, they gradually calmed him down. Uddhava also urged Devaki and Rohini to come in quickly with the food and drink for Krishna's meal. Then expert Uddhav had Balaram come in after finishing his bath. Uddhava then informed Lord Krishna that Narad was standing in the doorway. Krishna is the all-knowing seer of everyone's heart, but he asked with a smile, why is he being kept standing there? Why doesn't he come? Why doesn't he come in as usual? Then Uddhava said, my Lord, because he is afraid and embarrassed. Then Krishna told Narad Muni, my dearest friend, you are always eager to please me, and you are the best of those who relish transcendental emotions. You have now done me a great favor. It is true that when one is parted from those one loves, pure love makes one suffer within, as if from a blazing fire. So in this way, from Dashashwamedh Tirtha to Prayag in Dwarka, Narad Muni had wandered, and he had spoken with devotees, the Brahmana at Prayag, and all the others who, by Lord's divine grace, had each achieved perfection. Feeling great pleasure, Narad, the king of sages, now wanted to hear of this perfection directly from Lord Krishna's own mouth. So Narad said, Shri Krishna, please grant that no one will ever feel he has enough of your mercy. Your devotional service or pure love for you, the reservoir of ecstasy. Krishna said, O preceptor of all clever scholars, what kind of benediction is this? My mercy, my devotional service, and ecstatic love for me all have their nature that should be simply obvious. So then Narad Muni along with Krishna and Balaram, Narad Muni took lunch with Krishna and Balaram. After Narad Muni finished eating and washed his mouth, Krishna worshipped him, anointed him with fragrant oil, and adorning him with flower garlands and various ornaments. So then Narad Muni took leave of Madhava, Lord Krishna, and went to Prayag, thinking, let me bestow perfection on the sages who have waited so long for me to return. Thus Narada started on his journey to Prayag, intoxicated with eagerness for pure devotion. When the sages at Prayag heard the whole wonderful account from the mouth of Narada, they once and for all gave up all interest in everything other than Krishna's service, for they were able to grasp the essence of what is of value. Entering a mood of great and single-minded humility, they began worshipping the lotus feet of Sriman Madan Gopal, according to Narada's instruction. The gopis were consumed by expansive flames of the wondrous blazing fire of love for Krishna. So then Parikshit told his mother Uttara, if you follow my advice and with pure love take shelter of the gopis and their master Lord Krishna, then, O mother, I promise that by Krishna's mercy, you'll be able to understand something of the gopis' greatness. So he is saying, he is telling Uttara that with pure love, if you take shelter of the gopis and their master Lord Shri Krishna, then, my mother, you will be able, by Krishna's mercy, to understand something of the gopis' greatness. With the help of this most excellent narration about the Supreme Lord, which shows who has received the essence of the Lord's mercy, one can understand him for certain. Anyone who for any reason takes shelter with faith of this narration will quickly attain love for Lord Shri Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So thank you. Somehow I have been able to cover the first canto of Brihad Bhagavatamritam. The afternoon session, I'll start the second chapter of Brihad Bhagavatamritam. I think I mentioned to you all earlier that in 1989, I gave a seminar for 1 month in Vrindavan on Brihad Bhagavatamrita. For a one month I spoke about Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There was a seminar. Those days we started our Vrindavan Institute, VIHE, Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education. We started that in 87, 88, and 89 I skipped actually. In 1990 I gave a seminar on Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Those days we used to have the classes for 1 month. The first 2 years I gave a seminar on Vaishnava etiquette, a month-long seminars. And then I gave this seminar on Brihad Bhagavatamritam. So you can well imagine, it took me 1 month to cover this glorious book, glorious scripture, and so how difficult it can be to cover it within 4 days. But still I'll try, and I hope you are able to derive some benefit out of this. Although I'm going very quickly, but still I hope that there will be some benefit. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila